Okay, we now have a quorum, so we can get going. Thanks everybody for being here. With that approval of the agenda for today. We have a motion. Okay. Motion and
I'll second.
second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Approval of the TAC meeting or minutes of June 22nd. Any corrections? Not? Okay. Motion
My motion to approve.
Second.
in a second. We got that. All right. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. With that, director's report. Chad?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the Technical Advisory Committee. In this director's report, we would like to provide updates and developments with the help of staff. There is a UPWP Unified Planning Work Program that we seek your approval in the month of October tag, but still what progress we made, what developments we made in collaboration with KDOT and FHWA. Mark is here to update us. Marky, thank you.
Good morning. Yes. Okay, so the Unified Planning Work Program, or UPWP, we thought, as Chad mentioned, we would just kind of provide some background and then explain a bit of what's going into our 2027 Unified Planning Work Program. So as a refresher, this is the document that outlines how the federal planning funds allocated to WAMPO will be used throughout the year. So that includes both staff hours and our consultant tasks. It considers our long-range plan, federal planning factors, and our current legislation. So this document really does have several purposes beyond just budgeting. And it does guide the specific uses of our federal consolidated planning grant, or CPG funding, which is 80% federal and then 20% local funded. So the core products that WAMPO produces are something that we consider during this development. I won't go through these in too much detail. I will just note for things we will be doing in 2027. And then also all of these details are in your packet as well on pages 8 and 9. So in 2027, we may start early planning for our next Metropolitan Transportation Plan, or MTP. We will have our regular administration of the Transportation Improvement Program, as well as maybe potential starting for the next update of that as well. And then we'll have our 2028 Unified Planning Work Program developed in 2027 as well. And then the other one to note is that we will be updating our public participation plan next year, and that will ideally come after the next reauthorization for surface transportation. After that legislation is ideally when we will redo that, and it also has been 5 years, so it will just be an update to that plan. And then just to provide an overview of some of our priority projects in 2027, again, more details on the description and status of all of these are in your packet. The main thing to note is that there isn't anything that should be new or surprising that we plan for next year. We will have our ongoing regional active transportation plan that you'll hear an update about today. Same with the household travel survey. As I mentioned, we'll be updating that public participation plan, and then also just our ongoing public participation that we do. Continuing with safe routes to school. And then an update to the Transportation Systems Management and Operations, or TSMO plan. We have that planned for 2027 as well. Ongoing safety initiatives and activities, and that will also include the staff tasks associated with carrying out any safety-related grants. Our normal administration and accounting. The thing I will note for that is that in our 2027 UPWP, we are planning on splitting out the staff paid time off. So right now we have as task 1.1, all operations and administration tasks, and that includes both staff hours and staff paid time off. So to help better track that and for a bit more transparency of what is what, we're going to be splitting out the paid time off in 2027. And that was a recommendation from KDOT to do that. And then ongoing administration of the Transportation Improvement Program and Metropolitan Transportation Plan, continued transportation data and analysis, bicycle and pedestrian planning, transit planning, and then using and calibrating and updating that travel demand model. I know that was a lot of information, And there's definitely more in the packet as well. But we just wanted to kind of introduce these kind of overview priority projects and see if there was anything that anyone had as something that we are missing or something they would like to suggest for us to include. So please feel free to either let us know now, or if something comes to mind, feel free to send us an email and we'd be happy to discuss that and work on how that could be incorporated into the document. And then we also just wanted to give kind of the overview of the timeline. We're planning on bringing this same kind of report to TPB on August 11th, and then we will have the document set for a state and federal review period, followed by our public comment period, and then it will be brought back to this body for a recommendation and then to the TBB for approval in November. Are there any questions for me or comments about the 2027 Unified Planning Work Program?
Thank you. Thank you, Marky, for the update. As you know, Unified Planning Work Program is a federally required document that all MPOs develop. And then you also know some of the examples of the projects that are ongoing, like Safe Routes to School Study, Active Transportation Plan, Household Travel Surveys. So staff is collaborating with various agencies, and you as well. If you think of something that region-wide study is beneficial, we can always include in the future UPWP as the budget allows us to do. That's one of the reasons why early on, although it is your approval is sought, seeking your approval in the month of October, we want to keep you informed and being transparent with this process. So we'll move to the next item. Next item is the regional transit. You know how we did a regional transit plan in the last year, but there's always an opportunity to continue the momentum, not just stop with the plan, because there's so many opportunities where jurisdictions can collaborate to have a seamless transit system despite jurisdictional boundaries and so on. And also multimodal transportation system thrives with various modes of transportation. They complement each other. So Laura is helping with the committee, and also Laura, please help us update.
Yes. Good morning. On July 1st, we had our first Regional Transit Coordination Committee meeting. We discussed a few things about kind of the purpose. Kim gave an overview of the Regional Transit Implementation Plan. And then as people introduced themselves, they also gave their current transit initiatives in their area. And then the main thing that we focused on for this time was we asked a few questions about what would make this meeting useful for you or this committee, and then what topics do you want to focus on this year. These are just a few of their responses. What options are available for connecting within the region, things like that. And that will be looked at more in the implementation plan. The topics people would like to focus on, they want to address the access to employment, supporting car rental sales tax for transit funding, and sinking funding opportunities to expand services. As always, we will keep you guys informed. Our next meeting will be early October. This is a quarterly committee. And our first meeting was online only. And then this one we want to prioritize in person because a few of the members shared the importance of being in person for this kind of committee when you're coordinating like this. So our October meeting, and hopefully all after that, will be primarily in person with the option of online. And if you or anyone of your staff are interested in joining, you can just give me an email. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Laura. And also these meetings are quarterly, so they're not as often, and to accommodate your schedules and all. All right, so we have next item, the data that Peter and Deepu were working on. Thank you.
Good morning. I just wanted to give an FYI essentially that we've updated our data and reports section on our website. As you guys have probably experienced before, sometimes government websites can get kind of sprawling and you have to go through multiple links to find what you need. We were trying to address that problem. So we updated data and reports. It's organized by reports, dashboards, and tables, and a new GIS and data hub that we'll get into here. So I'll show you here. Should be playing there. Okay. So now our reports show up here. And importantly, you can filter by topic and find what you need, hopefully very quickly. And you'll see an example here on the recorded screen here. Just commuter flows. All of our stuff will show up in the same format. And any reports will show up with the file type. And then all of the related dashboards are there as well. It also helps answer the question. Sometimes I know that this comes up. Did WAMPO do a report on that? You may have a foggy recollection, but you're not quite sure. You can check here real quick. For example, here's the housing report. And then you can find all the related tables and dashboards just appear immediately below it. So you can pull those, several census tables, and that'll lead into the next section here where we look at the dashboards and tables. So you can filter all of our dashboards, all of our tables, and just take a look and see what's there. Importantly, we put just when everything was last updated and when the data came from, so you know you're not looking at something from years and years ago that hasn't been touched in a long time. Or if you are, you at least know it. With that, we also have our census tables. These were developed for economic development, but we revamped them, made sure that all of the links were working and that all of the values were updating. These are directly from census. So if you pull this, here's total population by city. These are 5-year community survey estimates. You can go to the little drop down over here and it'll show you all the different census tables like cost burden homeowners, renters burden, things of that nature. And you can download the table, just pops out as a CSV file. But just want to let you know, we've updated that. It's much more easy to use and much easier to find what you're looking for. And with that, I will turn things over to Deepu, our new travel demand forecasting analyst. And she's going to go over the section she worked on, our GIS and data hub, where you can find a bunch of shape files.
Good morning, everyone. This is Deepu Jadla. Today, I would like to briefly introduce the WAMPO GIS data, how it can make accessing our GIS data easier and more convenient. Currently, GIS data requests from jurisdictions, consultants are being handled through email communications, requiring staff to locate the GIS data and send them individually. The GIS portal provides a self-service approach where users can access and download WAMPO's current available datasets. I will now play a short video demonstrating how the portal works. I don't know if it's this one. I can get yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. From the WAMPO website, we can go to the Data and GIS Hub to access the portal. The portal organizes the available datasets into categories. For an example, users can open their WAMPO planning boundary, review the dataset information like summary, etc., and download the CSV files or GIS files. Users can browse or search for the available datasets. Here, I'm searching for it, sidewalk data. The portal shows the available results and lets the user download the data in a shapefile or in any other formats that they require, like CSV, JSON, or something like that. We also have this new feature called TIP Projects Dashboard, which provides an interactive way to explore transportation improvement program projects. Like this one, the users can view the projects on the map and filter them by amendment or administrative adjustments, or by they can filter by lead agency like Wichita, City of Wichita or City of Goddard, or also they can filter it by project types like new roadway projects. Users can select a project for more details on the map and combine multiple filters to narrow the results down. Users can also do like switch base maps based on the viewing preference of individuals. And this is more about the WAMPO Geo portal provides a centralized self-service way to access WAMPO GIS data and explore TIP projects. So thank you. That's all.
Deepu, thank you. I hope that was informative. Just letting you know that we've updated that. It's available and much easier to access some of our data and reports. Again, thank you, Deepu, put together that GIS and data hub and also the TIP projects dashboard. There will also be one for the new TIP for the upcoming TIP as well. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And I think we are placing one repository place for shape files we all can use. That's basically In the future, Peter and I will be collaborating with jurisdictions to make data more accurate and more integrated throughout the region. We have next item, Kim Negrete on active transportation plan. Sorry, annual bike bed counts.
Good morning, TAC members and community partners. Just a reminder for the annual bicycle and pedestrian count, we have those dates scheduled for September 16th, 17th, and then 19th, which is a Saturday. These counts will be conducted again by volunteers and via the Mio Vision cameras. Those were purchased back in 2024, as you remember. And those cameras are allowing us to actually collect more data at more locations and also more data as in hours, nighttime, and other features that sometimes we cannot get from volunteer records. So we're looking forward to that. We will be updating our website to go live on August 1st for volunteer recruitment. So I'll probably be reaching out to some of the communities to recruit those volunteers. And I also just had one question for you today. If you had any new locations that you would like to add, we plan to do the approximate 35 locations that we did last year. But if you have any new locations where you would like data collected, please just let me know and we can get those added to the count. So any questions on that?
Gary.
Yes, Gary.
Probably asked this before. With the mile vision cameras for county and also, and I'm just asking in general for everybody. So you do this once a year.
Mhm.
Do you have plans to do counts any other times? Can jurisdictions request counts?
Yes.
Locations they want, something like that?
Actually, yes, we are conducting them now, really all year during the good weather primarily. Starting in spring, we start hearing requests from the city of Wichita, Sedgwick County, and Hayesville as well. And so if you are interested, Peter does have a checkout system available online that he can also connect you with and get those set up for you. But yes, our idea is to start collecting almost year round when the weather's generally good, to be able to expand that data and get some better traffic flow patterns and information for you all.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Yes.
That's helpful because I think I could probably speak for most of us. We have things kind of come up unexpected at times, and it'd be really helpful to have counts at any point in time. So thank you.
I will say your staff are keeping us busy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. And since data is important and data collection is important, thank you, Gary, for the question. Mr. Chair, may I request Peter to chime in on data collection? Peter, Gary's question he can address.
Yeah, Gary, we've been working with Randy Poole. He's been coming over, helping us, giving the data and sharing it with us, specifically the video data that comes with it. So yes, they're available. You can check them out at any time on our website for the three jurisdictions that we were in the agreement with between Wichita, Hayesville, and Sedgwick County. But yes, we'd love to collect this and then eventually create a repository that people can access online just via our website, and make requests or just download themselves if they have the right credentials.
Thank you, Peter. And also in 2027 or 2028, in the UPWP, we wanted to incorporate how data obtained can be uploaded on the website. So we have access to historic data trends and collection on various locations and so on. So that's something we'll collaborate with the county, city, and later on staff will collaborate so that there are some examples other MPOs have done, and that'll be Peter and I are working to have a robust data repository in the future as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Okay, moving along. Public comment. Anybody here online have any comments for the board? Seeing none. Action item, transportation improvement program. Nick?
Thank you.
It is at long last the day when we will ask you to make a formal recommendation to the TPB on whether or not to approve the draft federal fiscal year 2027 through federal fiscal year 2030 Transportation Improvement Program, aka the TIP. Many of you have heard this many times before, but for those who haven't, we held a call for projects February 2nd through March 6th this year, primarily for projects seeking sub-allocated federal funding during the period of the new TIP. The project selection committee made recommendations of which of those applicant projects to award sub-allocated federal funding on March 30th, 2026. Then on April 27th, the TAC concurred with those recommendations, which were approved by the TPB on May 12th. In addition to these sub-allocated projects, the TIP is also required to include any other project receiving federal transportation funding and any other project that is regionally significant during the 4-year period of the TIP. And now we have been through a review by KDOT at the FHWA and the FTA of the draft TIP, and it has been out for a 30-day public comment period, June 17th through July 16th. We received one comment during that public comment period, which we will get to later. But now it will be time for the TAC to consider whether or not to recommend the TIP to the TPB. On page 20 of your packets, in the draft executive summary of the new TIP, you will find a map of all of the project locations of those projects that are mappable, but that's all projects. Looking particularly at sub-allocated projects, on the screen right now are the 10 projects totaling a little more than $35 million in sub-allocated funding that the PSC, TAC, and TPB approved for new sub-allocated funding this time around, mostly in 2029 and 2030, because most 2027 and 2028 funding had already been accounted for. Some of these projects were awarded less than 80% maximum funding. This was in light of limitations on the amount of available funding, and the sponsors of those projects confirmed that the projects could still proceed with the levels of funding that were awarded. The 10 projects include the WAMPO project, Interstate Passenger Rail Study Support, the Sedgwick County project, R372 21st Street North and 167th Street West intersection improvements, the City of Wichita Gypsum Creek Multi-Use Path Project, Oliver to Lincoln, City of Mays 119th Street improvements from 29th to 37th, Wichita Transit, the purchase of replacement buses, City of Wichita ITS Central Avenue Seneca to 159th, City of Wichita 21st Street North, 119th Street West to St. Teresa, City of Wichita, Seneca Street and 55th Street South sidewalks, Hayesville, West Grand improvements, and a joint project of Goddard and Sedgwick County, 183rd Street expansion. Those are included among the set of all sub-allocated projects in the 4-year period of the TIP, which you may find on page 21 of your packets. These are all of them, including the ones that were already in the old TIP but are carried over to the new one because they're in 2027 or 2028. The numbers on the left correspond to their IDs in the map, totaling $72 million in that 4-year period, by the way. This is the map of the suballocated projects on page 22 of your packets. All the locations of the mappable ones during the 4-year period of the TIP. There's a note there of the 2 that are not mappable. Page 25, there is a summary of the analysis that was done to confirm how the projects that are in the TIP help the WAMPO region towards its targets for the federally required performance measures, for which WAMPO supports the targets set by KDOT and, in the case of transit safety, Wichita Transit. On page 24 are the results of the fiscal constraint analysis for the TIP, confirming that over the period of 27 through 30, the overall amount of the project costs programmed in that period, plus operations and maintenance costs for the transportation during the same period, do not exceed transportation revenues from state, federal, local, and other sources that will be available during that time, meaning it is not expected that this TIP will turn out to have been overprogrammed, thus meeting a very important and logical federal requirement. On page 23, you can see a breakdown of the project costs by project type during the 4-year period of the TIP. $563 million total. The largest chunk of that is roadway reconstruction and modernization, followed by roadway expansion, then bridge projects, and then down on the line to smaller project types such as bike ped, sidewalks, public transit planning, rail, and ITS. Those latter ones were in no particular order. As mentioned earlier, we did receive one comment during the public comment period, which WAMPO received, noted, and acknowledged. It read, WAMPO staff and management, I want to thank you for supporting the bike ped projects that are included in your plan, such as bike ped trails in Bel Air, Hayesville, and Butler County, the Gypsum Creek multi-use path reconstruction, sidewalks at Seneca and 55th South, and the bike ped components of several of the other projects. I am very pleased with the progress on the Redbud Trail from Woodlawn eastward to the K96 Trail with a pedestrian bridge to be built over Rock Road. Should you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks again. And then their name is redacted here, of course. And you can find this in an appendix to the TIP, I believe, Appendix D. Before I read the action options, are there any questions? Yes, Mike Armour. Press the button, please.
That table that you show that had just the proposed 29, 30, that would be very helpful. And the packet, it was not included.
You mean which one?
Go back another one. Yes.
Okay.
That helps see, hey, what are the new ones being added to the TIP? It's kind of sometimes hard to look at a 4-year TIP and see the table and then just kind of pick it apart ourselves. But yeah, if that could just be shared somehow with staff, that'd be appreciated.
Okay. This table is in the TIP Appendix D, I believe. But it is not in the executive summary. Or is it? Wait, is it in the executive summary?
We'll make it available, Mark.
If it's in the appendix, thanks.
Okay, it is in the appendix, yes.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Nick. Let's see, I guess you're still up with the household, oh no, other Nick. I'm sorry.
He's online.
Okay. We're going to do the household travel survey. Nick is online, so give it to you.
All right, thank you. And I guess Nick, the other Nick, do I need to share my screen? Do I have that ability to share my screen, or will somebody there go through the PowerPoint? Like,
We will advance the slides for you.
okay, got it. All right, perfect. Thank you very much. So yeah, we just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up on the household travel survey and give you an update on where we're at. You can go to that next slide. So my name's Nick Jones. I work for ETC Institute. We're located here just right in Olathe, so not too far away from you. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about the team that we've put together for this household travel survey. So there's ETC Institute. We do household travel survey research all over the country. We're in several different markets right now, DFW, Philadelphia, as well as, let's see, Rio Grande Valley, Las Vegas, we just finished up. So all over the place. And we are working with a team like Caliper. Caliper, you're probably familiar with. They've actually worked specifically on the WAMPO model. We've also are working with Locus. They provide some big data services, which will actually enhance some of the sampling and also some of the analysis at the end of the project as well. And we're also working with a local DBE firm called Shockey Consulting, which will help us with our outreach efforts. So you can go to the next slide there. One of the things with ETC Institute that I just wanted to point out real quick is that we do a lot more than just the household travel surveys. And this is important just because we are used to recruiting and surveying people all over the country for all different types of reasons. And today we'll be focused on the household travel surveys, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on ETC. In fact, if you go to that next slide, ETC, we've surveyed over 5 million people over the last 5 years or so, and that includes about 40,000 residents in the Wichita area. As I mentioned, we do hundreds of onboard transit surveys. We actually did the last onboard transit survey for Wichita Transit. We've done over 50 plus household travel surveys, including the last WAMPO household travel survey in 2010, 2011. And as I mentioned, we're also working with Caliper on this project, who has specifically worked with the WAMPO current travel demand model. So on the next slide, one of the things that we'll do to make sure that we're getting a representative sample of residents is we're creating sampling plans based on census information, also ACS data. And this is just to make sure that we don't, although we're going through random address-based sampling as our kind of primary approach, we want to make sure that we get a representative sample of all different types of households. And so to make sure we don't end up with too many one-person households or too many mid-level income ranges, we build these goals out in advance so that we can monitor that and make sure that we're getting a representative data set. And one of the ways that we do that, if you go to the next slide, is that before we even start the project, we'll actually go into kind of old archives of data along with GIS information and pre-identify certain geographies or demographics in the study area that we think will be harder to reach. And we do that to make sure that we get sort of a plan A, B, and C of how to recruit those households, just to make sure that we do get a representative sample when we're all done at the end of the day. And on that next slide, we do this by monitoring. So we'll monitor not only the goals based on that sampling plan, that matrix there that I showed, but we'll also be monitoring the demographics as well. And we're doing this, like I mentioned, we don't want it to just be random. We also want it to be representative. Go to the next slide. So our calling team, we've got a large calling team that actually uses an integrated omni-channel communication platform. It's the same platform that Amazon uses. So if you've ever gotten help support from Amazon, same sort of idea. Essentially allows us to keep track of all the communications that we've ever had with that resident, regardless of the method, whether it was text or phone or email or live chat. Essentially, it's all there for our calling team. It'll also show us, it's integrated with our database, our household travel survey database, which allows us to kind of pick up right where that respondent left off. That way, there's just no delay. Anybody can kind of pick up that survey, make sure that that respondent gets the survey completed. And it also allows us to follow them throughout the survey completion process. Go to the next slide there. So how to participate, like I mentioned, large calling team, we've got bilingual callers. All the survey materials are translated. And we've got our smartphone apps that we're going to be using for this project are all programmed in-house. So we try to make participation as easy as possible for household members to actually participate. It's an integrated platform, so they can kind of do each of these individual items, or they can do a combination. So we've got our smartphone app that will actually track different stops. It'll pop up the stop for you, and you can kind of answer questions regarding those locations as they pop up. There's also an online web tool if people would prefer to kind of manually enter that information, or you can do the survey actually over the phone with our call center. And as I mentioned, just kind of all in a combination of all of those if necessary. So one of the things that's unique to us on that next slide is that our calling team is basically tech support, interviewer, and also QA/QC. And so we call them basically personal representatives. When somebody comes into our household travel survey kind of leads, whether they're coming from a postcard or a social media ad, which I'll talk about here in a second, regardless of how they're coming in, they're basically assigned one of our calling team members from the very beginning. And that person is basically in charge of trying to get that individual household through the survey process. So we'll be monitoring basically once they come in, where they're at in the survey process. If they get stalled, if there's a delay, anything like that, we can see it. We'll reach out to them, try to help them in any way we can, just to make sure that they get through the survey. We're there to answer questions. Live chat's built into our smartphone app. And that's basically the main reason, just so we can verify and approve all that information. We even do QA/QC where we can see their stops as they're being collected. So if we need to reach out, if anything needs to be clarified, we can do that quickly. As far as the survey app goes, for the mobile app, there's a couple different ways people can complete the survey. One, they can basically just set the information, as far as the permissions, I should say, set the permissions, answer the qualifying questions. It only takes a couple minutes. And then that app will start to record trips immediately. And then at that point, if they just choose they don't want to do anything else, they can actually set a meeting time with our calling team. That meeting time will happen after their travel date, so that when they sit down for that meeting with our calling team, the caller will have that information all up on their screen as far as all the GPS breadcrumbs, where they went, if they've submitted stops, if they haven't submitted stops, we'll be able to follow along and make sure that all their stops actually get submitted and that we don't miss anything. So that's one way we can do it, to make sure that we get all the survey information that way and take as much burden off the respondent as possible, to try and boost those response rates, those completion rates. Or option two is they can complete the survey on the next slide. They can just complete the survey all on their own. And that can be done from the app as well. We try to make it flexible, and just either give them the option to remove the burden completely or allow them to complete the survey all by themselves, or basically anywhere in between. If they get stuck at any point, we'll reach out. So if you want to jump ahead, yeah, you can go to the next one. But also, just one point on that is just that all of those processes in place help us to get about 75% of people that come into the system actually completed, which is significantly higher than what you'll see elsewhere. So we do encourage the smartphone participation. Main reason for that is smartphone trip rates are usually a little bit higher, just because they they don't forget that you stopped at the gas station, or there's little kind of short stops that some people might forget as they're trying to jot those trips down either manually or telling our caller over the phone. So we do try to encourage smartphone participation. And one of the things that's unique about the stop capture on the next slide there. So we've got two different methods of tracking location. We use the mobile sensor data from the phone, and we also use the GPS, and we run algorithms on those separately so that they basically talk to each other. And if both determine that a stop occurred, that's when that stop will pop up on that user's list or their map, as you can see there. And that sort of double proof that a stop happened makes that accurate that app the trip stops quite accurate. So if you go to the next slide there, we also ask about travel mode, trip purposes at each of those stops. We can suggest what we think happened, whether it was a vehicle or bicycle, walking, those sorts of things, but we do like respondents to actually verify or approve that information just because we think it's more accurate rather than just imputing ourselves. So on that next slide there, and you can actually jump ahead. So on the smartphone, there's the map view. So there's a couple different ways to look at your stops that are collected by the app. You've got the map view, which will show you just, as you can see on a map, you can click on those stops, answer questions about them. Basically, all the functionality is there that it is going to be in the list view, which is the next view on the next slide. So you can view it on a map, or you can view it in a list like this, which will just show from the beginning basically to the end of your day. You'll click on each point. It'll ask you if you stopped there or not. And if you stop there, it'll ask you follow-up questions. If it's a false positive stop, you can just delete it and move on. So I won't go over all the privacy information here just because that's not really my expertise, I suppose. But we do make sure that just because the information we're collecting, so it does have PII and things like that, we make sure that it's all safe and encrypted, so that to keep it as privacy as important as we can. On the next slide, so one of the things that's unique about us is just the sampling methods and outreach that we do to make sure that we get a representative set of data for you. And on that next slide, so we kind of start, as I mentioned, by kind of understanding the community and then tailoring our approach to how we're going to reach out and recruit those individuals. Kind of showed you that a little bit in the beginning of having sort of those plan A, B, and C, just and knowing kind of in advance where we think we're going to have difficulties with certain groups, just based on the study area and based on past information. And that's actually led to a lot of success stories for us. So on that next slide, so specifically for household in the Phoenix area, I think we had over 30% of households that were Hispanic, which was significantly higher than they've ever gotten before. We've done some really difficult surveys in really small areas in Texas. We do a lot of surveys, household travel surveys for TxDOT, and they do every single metro in their state, and that includes some very, very small locations where we had to get like 1 out of 20 households to participate, and we were able to pull that off. So just the different methods that we use have really helped, and that's what we're bringing here to the WAMPO project. If you go to the next slide there, one of the things that I like to do to get kind of out there in advance to make sure that people know that the survey is both legitimate, but they can also trust that the data that they're giving us is being handled safely, is that we like to go on the local news, just be able to talk to folks to make sure that we get that word out that the survey is safe and that it is legitimate. And we'll actually take that information and be able to create a QR code, which we'll put on our postcards here, which I'll show you in just a second. And then so people can actually scan it, watch the interview, but we'll also take that interview cut it into smaller kind of bite-sized portions and use them for social media ads that we target to those same specific addresses that we send the postcards to. On the next slide, one of the things that we do with our websites is we make sure that they're all translated into survey languages that are necessary for the project. For this project, I believe that's 3 total. We also do add an accessibility widget, so people that need that can utilize that and be able to read everything on the website there. And then on the next page, that's that postcard I was mentioning. So we do have a larger than normal postcard that we use. The purpose for that is just to get some more information on there as well, but it also makes it harder to ignore. A smaller postcard can kind of easily get lost or thrown away. These postcards are a little bit hard not to see. And it also allows us to do kind of one side in English and then the back side completely in Spanish, which helps as well with those residents. And then we won't necessarily do all of these things, but one of the next things that we've done in other markets is actually make television commercials with local news anchors. We found that that's the best way to get legitimacy and build trust within the community when we're doing these projects. We've had a lot of success with that. That one, for example, there is in the Tucson area. And on the next slide, we've done also, like I mentioned, a lot of social media. So whether we're cutting up ads, those interviews, or we're building our own ads, we do a lot of that, and we're able to actually target to those at the address-based level as well. And then just lastly, on that last slide, one of the things that we've done that's pretty unique, I think, to us, well, very unique to us, is we've actually tried to kind of remove ourselves from being the kind of a nameless, faceless market research company that's just asking for your information through an ad or a postcard. And in addition to going on TV, we're actually working with local groups. We've got an artist on staff, a muralist who works on our advertising team. And so she's actually done some murals for local nonprofits or even some disadvantaged schools. And we're able to it's just a way for us to kind of show the community that we're there, we're doing something good. Obviously, this survey is going to be doing something good for many years to come, but this is kind of a way for us to show that we're doing something good kind of in the immediate. So anyway, that's something that we've done. It's worked out really well. We've had some really good feedback from it. And anyway, those were all kind of the different things that we've been using. Next steps for us on that last slide is just essentially we're going to be having our first steering committee meeting kind of the mid to late August area. We'll also be doing a pilot survey in mid-August. We've got the main survey data collection slated for after Labor Day in September and continuing probably until March. And then for the model integration, we're expecting that to be summer of 2027 with our final reporting kind of in early 2028 after all that's completed. But with that, I'll turn it over to you all and see if you have any questions.
Okay. Any questions for Nick? Go ahead.
Thank you, Nick. That's a great job because there's so much information and the methodology that you're adopting in this was helpful to our members. And also some of the challenges that you shared today, like legitimacy and safe handling of data, privacy, and so on. I know our staff is very confident in your expertise because you did similar projects in other MPOs and so on. One of the least little things we can do in your efforts, you have comprehensive efforts in the future, is something like social media that our jurisdictions can help out with that effort. And Marky Jonas is working with Nick and his team, and Marky may reach out to jurisdictions and see what opportunities we have on social media to so that we can make this project successful for the region as well as for Nick's team as well. So that's all the comment I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anything else for Nick? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Moving on to the Regional Active Transportation Plan. Kim?
Good morning again. Just wanted to give you an update on the Regional Active Transportation Plan, which you know the TPB approved on June 9th. So the primary objective here is to create a comprehensive plan that prioritizes the connectivity, safety, and accessibility and infrastructure expansion across the entire WAMPO region. We're excited to do this project. We know many of the jurisdictions are excited. Some of the objectives in this plan will be to identify that regional network, as we mentioned, that really connects the jurisdictions, it connects trails, infrastructure, and attractions. We're really focusing on those gaps between the communities. So that's very exciting. It will identify possible catalyst projects with the potential to encourage people to gather and to encourage economic development potentially. We're assisting WAMPO member jurisdictions with updating their bicycle and pedestrian maps. And we're creating a map of existing and planned active transportation infrastructure in the region, including an update to the Wichita area bike map. So quite an extensive list of objectives in this plan. So I wanted to give you a real simple, brief summary. This is a one-year plan, so we are working fast and steady. Right now, we are currently working to initiate the plan. We are meeting with our consultants and with the jurisdictions. We are building the advisory group. If anyone here is interested to serve on that advisory group, please just let me know. We're out doing lots of field work. So you might see Marty Schukert, who is a consultant lead with RDG. He is out writing all of our infrastructure to really get a good, accurate feel for it. So we've also been working on the project management and engagement plans. So the next phase is really going to be mapping, looking at a lot of the existing facilities, and then also what do people want to see? What do the jurisdictions want to see? What do residents want to see? What are those connecting projects and potential catalyst projects? We'll, of course, be doing outreach across the entire region in multiple locations. Then the team will come back with some design drafts and plans for everybody to review and to determine what will be good to include in our final plan. So again, we'll be doing those updated maps as well and lots of outreach. Right now, as I mentioned, we're currently meeting with the jurisdictions. We've met with about half of them here in the WAMPO region, and this week we're hitting quite a few more. So here we're meeting with a couple different communities. Again, looking for those areas for expanding your bike ped infrastructure and also areas of concern or maybe areas that you haven't addressed before because of some barriers. So also looking at all your new developments so we can take all of that into account. So you'll be seeing us out meeting with you and out on the streets. So definitely say hi to Marty or I if you see us out on our bicycles. But Chad, I know you wanted to make a comment as well about this plan.
Thank you, Kim. Kim does a great job, and we all know how passionate Kim is on active transportation plan and bike. So we're excited about this project. And as Kim said, it's only 1 year project, and the time goes quickly. One of the things we wanted to share with you was catalytic projects. What are those in our jurisdictions? Each jurisdiction have their own dreams on how a center can be attractive to families and recreation. For example, Keeper of Plains as an example, something that is shining, something that is economic development and recreation. So what we're trying to do was have those schematics. That's the challenge in this project. How do we have, everyone has a vision, but putting them in a paper with some graphics and schematics is a challenge. We wanted to remind jurisdictions that if we can do something with the help of with the help of consulting firm, they are happy to help. So that's what we were trying to do, which is make the plan more inclusive of the vision and make it more shining is what we were trying to do. We'll keep working with you. I just want to give a heads up as we progress on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Any other questions for her? If not, thank you. Next is community events, Riverfest, Brianna Monk. Gonna do this.
Yes, hello all. Hello. Do I have permission to share yet? I wanted to bring up my data file report.
Yes.
I think we have them embedded in there for you, Brianna.
Is it embedded? Okay.
We do. We have them ready for you. They're on the screen.
Awesome.
You just tell us when
Awesome.
to advance.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, thank you all for allowing me to speak today in regards to Riverfest. Riverfest just celebrated its 54th year. So overall, I believe that we had a successful year. We saw a lot of different measures, of course, dealing with weather and such. But other than that, I think overall we were able to bring in people from out of our city, out of our state, and into our downtown community. One thing that we do with Riverfest is that we reach into Datafy and produce information that can help us kind of locate where most of our patrons come from, and also some additional areas that we can study a little bit more to see if there's some type of ways that we can either draw in some additional transportation needs coming in from those areas, or if those people are actually coming in and the length of time that they are staying. Go to the next slide. Some of our locals versus visitors in the market. I want us to pay attention to some of those things of our in and out of state visitation. Of course, most are in state, about 87%. Out of state, we saw an increase of about 12.31%. So we actually were able to get a few more visitors in from out of state this year, which was very, very helpful. As you can see on the bottom left, most of them, of course, come from the Wichita-Hutchinson area that is combined, other parts into Kansas City. But I also want to highlight some at the end that we are getting some trickle-ins from both Tulsa, Dallas, Denver, Omaha, and Springfield, as well as Joplin. Which to me is a great sign that I always call it the 4-hour bubble. That is about the length of time where people are willing to travel before they say, hey, I think I need to catch a flight. And each year since I've been here in this position, I've seen this go up a little bit. This is going into my second festival. So I think we have some really good numbers and data going on from here. Regarding the city visitation, inside of the state of Kansas, of course, we have most from Wichita. We have some Derby, Andover, all the way down to Goddard and Topeka, as well as into El Dorado and Newton. So we are drawing them in rather well, and we are able to see some of the ways that they are transporting themselves to a festival. Next slide. On our days of festival, as we have seen years and years prior, during the week, it's a little bit slower, but you can always tell where the weekends hit, where we increase. On the top one, it kind of shows that from the beginning of festival all the way until about Monday, we saw a decline, and then it started to increase going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Towards the end of festival, we started to see a rise. On the visitors days by day, on the bottom, this is just visitation over time. This one also shows and is reflective of the same thing. So basic knowledge that we already know. During the week is a little bit difficult with people who are working, but we actually do still have some decent attendance of people who are coming out. Next slide. We also was able to collect some data on some of the income, age, and household sizes that are coming down to the festival, which I think is a pretty excellent data of people when we're dealing with the economic development and what they're able to bring into the downtown area. As we can see, most of them are in your 0 to 50,000 range, but we do have some people that are allowed to make a little bit more there. On age-wise, we can see definitely the increase. I always say the ages of 20 to 45 are our core. Everybody else on that is older than the 45, there are people that actually are devout followers of a festival there. And then we're starting to do a little bit more of a pickup of the younger generation. And these are the ages of people who are able to come down and drive themselves or come together with a friend or something like that. So we're able to see, an increase in that as well. And then, of course, the household sizes and things like that. We're seeing a little bit more singles, but we also do have an increase in families that are coming down to the festival as well. Next slide. Some additional data that we are looking at is some of our in and out of state spending. We are able to see some of our locals versus visitor spending. And on the visitor spending, it looks like 29% of the people who attend the festivals were out of town that were spending dollars. Overall total spend looks like a little bit over 6.6 million there, and average spend per trip about a little over $70, $73 there. And that's just on a singular transaction. Some additional data here are some of the markets that they are spending in. That are spending dollars inside the festival, and as you can see, each of them was able to spend a significant amount. It looks like we had a few coming in from Chicago on the average spend, and Topeka, of course, our out of town individuals are going to be spending more because they actually are getting the hotel rooms and things like that, and they're spending dollars for food inside the festival, but also around in the downtown area, which to me shows a significant increase from last year. The percentages were starting to build up. We've seen a little bit more of a build up, I should say, from COVID going into now. So to me, this looks like a decent return of people back to the festival. So we're definitely looking forward to our 55th year for comparison. Next slide. Some of our in and out of state visitors, we are going to look into those, just some extended amount of information. This is a visitation on the parade itself. And that's something to look at. Our parade does pull in a decent amount of people. We had a nice crowd of people that were actually able to come out. Most of them, of course, were local, but we had some people that were from out of town, all the way like I said, as far as Topeka that came in for that. And then we also had some that were coming in from Oklahoma City, a few from Denver and Springfield. So we had some people that were really hanging around with us for a bit over the 9-day period. And as you can see in the far right-hand corner, that is the area that we did our parade on, and that's the route. So they were able to pull all of that data from that route that you see in the right-hand corner. Next slide. The last slides are just basically understanding what the geolocation data and a lot of these things you guys have already kind of spoken about in regards to the geo data and things like that. Any questions over festival, over the data presented, or any thoughts or comments?
Okay. Any question? All right. Thank you. Appreciate the update on that.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Any other business before the board? If not, we stand adjourned. Thank you.